Whispers of the Vanished, The Secrets of Alaska's Enigmatic Triangle. Paranormal investigator Ralph Saller is on his way to Anchorage in Alaska, the gateway to the mysterious Alaska Triangle, where over 60,000 people have disappeared. There are reports of UFO sightings and also of spooky creatures from mythology. What is the cause of the missing people? Ralph is looking forward to this case. He will meet a good friend there, René Schneider, a special investigator for paranormal cases at the FBI. Most recently they were hunting Bigfoot together in Texas. The Alaska Triangle is 660,000 square miles and stretches from Barrow to Anchorage and Juneau and back to Barrow. There are reports of missing planes, alien abductions, Bigfeet and other mysterious beings. Ralph is visibly excited, especially because this landscape is still one of the most untouched in the world. The Indians who live there also have legends of thunderbirds, Kushtukas and ottermen. Thunderbirds are said to be 5 times as big as the golden eagle and strong enough to kill and carry people away. Kushtukas are creatures from the shadow world. They appear quickly and unexpectedly and abduct unwary people with the help of magical powers. Ottermen live in the water and are a mixture of humans and otters. They capsize boats and drown their victims. There are also stories of prehistoric animals that are said to still live there. Creepy and haunted buildings. UFOs that emerged from the water. But the most feared creature is the hairy man, which is very aggressive and the most deadly and is said to be related to Bigfoot. Many sightings have already been documented. Ralph is excited to see what he and René will discover in the Alaska Triangle. The plane is now preparing to land. Alien Area Shop. Your one-stop fashion destination. Attention, fashion enthusiasts of all ages. Step into the extraordinary world of Alien Area, where style meets intergalactic flair. Whether you're a man, woman, or child, we've got the trendiest clothing and accessories to make you stand out from the crowd. Visit Alien Area Shop today and let us help you defy gravity with our mind-blowing fashion selections. Prepare to be abducted by style. The airport was surprisingly full. It is summer in Alaska and many adventure tourists come here to admire the beautiful landscape. Hey Ralph. Ralph turns around and sees René coming towards him. A few weeks ago they both had a case in Texas. They had to deal with Bigfeet and aliens. Hello. How are you? Ralph asks. René answers, so far, everything's fine. I've been investigating here for several days. I've already researched a few reports and I have to admit that something overpowering is lurking in the shadows. In the places where I've investigated, I clearly felt the aura of supernatural forces. Ralph asks curiously, why do you think so many people have disappeared in the Alaska Triangle? René answers, there are many reasons and legends. I believe that this area is charged with such strong magnetic energy that time holes or wormholes form there. Ralph says, I'm excited to see what we discover here. Where will we investigate first? René answers, I've already investigated an old hotel in Juneau that was haunted and I actually felt supernatural energy. The manager of the hotel recommended that I investigate the place up the fjord where a good 100 years ago the steamship Princess Sophia sank. Several fishing boats are said to have disappeared there without a trace. Ralph says, okay, then let's start there. Both investigators head from the airport to the harbor to rent a boat. October 25, 1918, Princess Sophia sank with the loss of all aboard after grounding on Vanderbilt Reef in Lynn Canal near Juneau, Territory of Alaska. Here is the captain's last report. Today is October 25th, 1918. I am extremely happy that this is the last trip of the season. Today I will bring the last vacationers and gold prospectors from the heart of Alaska back to Vancouver. It is the last trip before the relentless cold freezes over Lynn Canal. I am absolutely ready for a vacation. On the outward journey the sea was very calm, but in the distance I saw an object coming out of the water. It looked metallic and several lights were shining on it. It was an illusion produced in my head. When I took out a pair of binoculars to take a closer look, it had disappeared without a trace. When I get back to Vancouver I will have a doctor examine me. If it is something serious I will unfortunately have to say goodbye to this job. So far, everything has been stowed on the ship, the last excursionists have boarded, the engines have been checked and are ready to go. In 30 minutes we will raise anchor and set off for Vancouver without delay according to the timetable. Signature Captain Smith of the SS Princess Sophia. End of report. That was the last sign of life from Captain Smith. Ralph and René are lucky in the port of Juneau. They rent the last available boat from a shipping company. It is a small yacht with a sleeping cabin and a small kitchen. It has radar and a radio. After detailed instructions from the harbor master, the two special investigators can finally set off. René has a boating license and is very adept at handling the yacht. A nautical chart of the Lynn Canal is attached to the steering wheel and clearly shows the dangerous places where the reefs are. Buoys and lighthouses also show the way. René asks, "Hey Ralph, do you know where the wreck of the SS Princess Sophia is supposed to be?" Ralph, "Yes, it must be inland. But the spot isn't marked on the map. I suggest we head in that direction and see what we find there." René steers the boat inland into the depths of the Alaska Triangle. The Lynn Canal is 2,000 feet deep and very treacherous as there are occasional reefs reaching the surface. The canal is a good connection for penetrating deeper inland. All around is untouched nature. Several ships have already disappeared without a trace or have crashed. The most famous is the SS Princess Sophia. There were no survivors. Ralph and René are now searching in the so-called Alaska Triangle why so many people have disappeared without a trace. The water is very calm and there is no wind. It is like the calm before the storm. René suddenly calls out, "Ralph! The compass is going crazy." Ralph goes to René and sees on the dashboard how the compass needle is constantly turning in circles. Ralph says to René, "Stop immediately. Something is going on here." René stops the boat and as if on the precise moment the water beneath them begins to boil. Ralph shouts, "Step on the gas, we have to get out of here as quickly as possible." René just manages to escape the danger zone with the boat. They both look at the spot and see something emerging from the depths. It shines as brightly as the sun and is oval in shape. They both have to close their eyes because the light is so bright as the thing emerges from the water and floats away. There is a bang and the unknown object disappears without a trace. They both get sunburnt and their eyes hurt. "Was that a UFO?" René asks uncertainly. "I don't know either, but I assume so," Ralph answers. The compass needle now stands still and points north. What happened here? Ralph thinks. René marks the spot on the map where they both spotted the unknown flying object. They then continue their journey on the Lynn Canal and discover an ancient boat dock. René heads towards it and tells Ralph that he wants to have a look around. After they have moored their boat there, the two investigators enter the area. They find out that they are on a peninsula. It is an abandoned Indian village. It looks as if the village was abandoned in a hurry. Several objects such as pots and hand tools are lying in a wild mess. What were these natives fleeing from? René points to a sculpture and says to Ralph, "Look, here is a sculpture of Kushtaka, a supernatural being that lives in the shadow world." Ralph looks closely at the sculpture. It looks like a human, but the face is that of an otter. René continues, "According to legend, it abducts careless people who go too deep into the forest." Ralph wonders whether the Indians had perhaps made an image of an extraterrestrial being here. René and Ralph look around a bit and then set off in their boat. René and Ralph plan to go to the town of Skagway, which is at the very end of the Lynn Canal. On their way, their boat passes the deepest part of the Lynn Canal. Ralph looks over the water and sees something appear on the right side. It is a large black humpback. Ralph thinks it must be a whale. But something is strange. A second humpback appears that belongs to the same animal. What kind of animal is it? He calls to René, "Look on the right side. Is that a whale?" René looks and they both see a long neck coming out of the water with a head that looks like a snake. Ralph quickly takes photos of the creature. This creature jumps up and quickly dives again. Ralph immediately thinks of Nessie, a monster that is said to live in the Scottish Lake Loch Ness. What the two saw was a sea serpent that was already reported by old sailors. It is not a myth, these creatures really do exist. With the valuable pictures, Ralph now has proof of their existence. Ralph and René continue towards Skagway and dock their boat in the evening. After a restless night, René and Ralph head to the Red Onion Saloon in Skagway. This building is famous and infamous. At least 4 ghosts are said to haunt it. Skagway is a beautiful town with older houses that are reminiscent of the 18th century. In summer, everything is lively here with many tourists who spend their adventure holidays here. A train leaves Skagway and travels across the entire Yukon region. The wagons and the locomotive are also reminiscent of the 18th century. Ralph and René meet with the owner of the Red Onion Saloon. He says that it has been in his family for over 100 years. The hauntings began with the SS Princess Sophia shipwreck. Voices can be heard mostly overnight and objects change their positions. Ralph and René look around a bit, but don't notice anything unusual. The two investigators go back to the harbor to take their boat back to Juneau. The waves are very calm and the weather is beautiful. Ralph and René are enjoying the trip back to Juneau. But that suddenly changes when a very thick fog appears out of nowhere. René calls Ralph into the canopy and stops the boat. "Here are fog lamps. I need your help. We have to attach these to the railing all around the boat so that no other boat rams us," says René. Ralph says okay and both start installing the lights. René starts on the left and Ralph takes over the other side. Ralph is very focused on installing the lights, but is making good progress. After what feels like a while he becomes suspicious. René should actually be coming towards him. But he is not yet visible. Ralph asks him, "René, is everything okay?" No answer. Ralph runs around the boat, cannot find him. Maybe he is in the cabin. Not that either. He hasn't heard anything either. Whether René has fallen overboard, there was no noise. Ralph tries to call the Coast Guard by radio, but the device is not working. Ralph desperately calls for René several times. Nothing. René has disappeared. As quickly as the fog came, it clears up again. Ralph tries the radio again. This time he is lucky and reaches the Coast Guard. They immediately set off with a rescue team in a helicopter and a speedboat. The questioning by the Juneau sheriff has been going on for hours now. Ralph was picked up by the sheriff right at the harbor. The Coast Guard brought him and the boat back. But the Coast Guard was also unable to rescue René, and he has disappeared without a trace. The sheriff is trying to find out what happened. There is no evidence or witnesses. Both are sitting in the examination room and the sheriff keeps asking the same questions. Until someone knocks on the door. "Come in," says the sheriff, annoyed and disturbed. A man in a suit comes in and immediately shows his ID and says, "FBI." "Thank you, Sheriff, I'll take over here." The sheriff is clearly not happy, but he hands the case over to the FBI officers. He stands up in silence and leaves the room. "Mr. Saller, I am Agent Mueller and Agent René Schneider superior," the FBI officer begins and continues. "I have already spoken to your superior, Colonel Schmidt. He is very sorry about the loss of Agent Schneider. I personally believe what you say about what happened here. I have already experienced a similar case in the Bermuda Triangle. Nevertheless, we need your help." Ralph asks, "What is it about?" Agent Mueller continues, "There was an unidentified flying object crash here today in the middle of the Alaska Triangle. Perhaps it is connected to the disappearance of Agent René Schneider. I need you to help me with the investigation." "I have already spoken to Colonel Schmidt," he agreed. Ralph asks, "When do we start?" Agent Mueller answers, "Tomorrow morning at 8 we will fly to the location in a helicopter. What do you say, Mr. Saller?" Ralph immediately says, "Agreed." Agent Mueller thanks him and leaves the sheriff's office with Ralph Saller. Ralph quickly looks for a hotel. He is tired from all the exertion.